of the government. Also in the bulletin, former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah opposes the Office of the Special Prosecutor's second attempt to get court to confirm freezing order. Plus, some international news this morning as 100 killed in Israel-Hamas latest conflict with 1,000 others injured. Let's settle for the details of these stories and more. The former Sanitation Minister and Water Resources Minister Cecilia Dapaah is urging an Accra court to once again order the special prosecutor to release cash amounts seized and unfreeze bank accounts. The court had previously granted this request, but the special prosecutor released the items and imposed a fresh seizure and freeing order, insisting he suspects they are proceeds of crime. Well, my colleague Joseph Vakablay has been providing additional details regarding the recent development earlier.
And so the lawyers make the point that in the last 2 months, the former minister has not had access to her accounts. And we know that the monies that were seized at her residence, $590,000 and the amount of 2.8 million cedis. And so they say that in the last 2 months, it has simply been very difficult for her, and that she will suffer further hardship should the case drag on. And so they make the point that since both sides are already familiar with the facts surrounding this case, then what's the point in waiting for the 18th to deal with this particular matter? And so it's for that reason they are asking the court that it handles the matter on Wednesday instead of the 18th to ensure that in the event she gets a ruling in her favor, she can get access to her funds that have been seized for the last 2 months. One major issue that has been topical had to do with they claim that she had operated undeclared real estate business using various aliases. The OSP had also made the claim that she had sold a property using the alias of Nana Ya Ode. Now, the minister, through her lawyers in the documents filed, make the point that 1, she does not operate any real estate business. Number 2, she says that in terms of the property that she sold it on behalf of her mother, who is called Nana Ya Ode, alias Nana Ya Ode Nyakun, who is now deceased. And so they claim that she engaged in the transaction using an alias is false. Again, on receiving money from her dead brother's account, you recall the OSP had said that even after the brother's death, monies were transferred from the brother's account into her account. Now she says that that account was created with funds from her dead brother's funeral, and she's a signatory to that particular account, and the transfer was done for the purpose of her using the money to pay her brother's school fees. And so in terms of the substantive request that she's making, she's urging the court to reject the OSP's confirmation order and rather order a release of the seized sum and also unfreeze the accounts. And so on Wednesday, there will be the legal arguments about, first and foremost, whether the case should be heard earlier than the 18th. And so in the event the court holds that view, then the court would have to decide the day to have that particular hearing. And on that hearing day, it is possible that it could even be the Wednesday if the court grants it. And on that particular hearing, the arguments will be advanced as to whether there's a justifiable basis for the money to remain seized and the accounts remain frozen, or they should be made available to the former Sanitation Minister.
Away from that, let's bring you some other subjects this morning as the government of Ghana has condemned attacks on Israel by Hamas militants. This follows ongoing event in Israel where Hamas militants from the Gaza Strip infiltrated into southern Israel to attack innocent Israeli civilians amid a barrage of rocket attacks from the Gaza Strip. The Foreign Affairs Ministry, in a statement issued on Sunday, said Ghana unequivocally condemns the attacks and calls on the Hamas leadership to immediately cease the attacks and withdraw its militants from southern Israel. Quote, while Ghana affirms its support for Israel's right to exist and defend itself, it calls on the Israeli government to exercise restraint in its response to the Hamas attacks, end quote. It took the opportunity to call on both sides of the Israel-Palestinian conflict to return to the negotiation table. In a related development, the chairperson of the Commission of the African Union, Musa Faki Mahamat, expresses his utmost concern at the outbreak of the current Israeli-Palestinian hostilities, causing grave consequences for the lives of Israel and Palestinian civilians in particular, and for peace in the region in general. The chairperson wishes to recall that denial of the fundamental rights of the Palestinian people, particularly that of an independent and sovereign state, is the main cause of the permanent Israeli-Palestinian tension. The chairperson urgently appeals to both parties to put an end to military hostilities and to return without conditions to the negotiating table to implement the principle of two states living side by side to safeguard the interest of the Palestinian and the Israeli people. The chairperson further calls on the international community and the major world powers, in particular, to assume their responsibilities to impose peace and guarantee the rights of the two people. To some other subjects this morning, and the Ghana Journalists Association has called on the police to immediately arrest the remaining suspect who invaded the studios of UTV, describing the act as barbaric and medieval. The GJA asked the police to expedite prosecution of the perpetrators. The association, however, says it is highly disappointed in a statement issued by the Information Minister, which tried to justify the attack. According to the GJA, the posturing of Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah is worrying as he avoids a direct condemnation of the incident. The association, in a frontal response to the Information Minister, asked him to refrain from imposing a burden on the media to promote national cohesion. Meanwhile, the Ghana Journalists Association has urged media practitioners to act professionally at all times in the discharge of their duties. Well, prominent media advocate and executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Dr. Suleiman Ibrahim, has raised significant concerns about the recent attack on UTV on a Saturday night. He questions the moral justification for resorting to violence as a response to media content, emphasizing that there are functional legal avenues available for those dissatisfied with media content.
Very, very unpleasant. Very unfortunate and absolutely condemnable. It is also very, very surprising on the part of the owners of Despite Media Group. Their architecture or their arrangements are such that staff can move all the way from the entrance of the building, all the way up into the building, and all the way into the studios where the program was being held. I think that is quite extremely surprising that a media organization like that would have such a porous arrangement when it comes to safety and security. But of course, that is not to say that what happened was justifiable. It is absolutely untenable for this to happen. But again, for me, it is not surprising if this is coming from persons who are described as thugs within the MPP. Because it appears to me that at this stage we have a government that people are desperate to show their loyalty. And even if that means that they must act in a rather reckless way, they would do that just to get the attention of either the president or persons in government. It is good that the Ministry of Information has been swift, and in the statements that we've read, the ministry was part of the complainant in terms of alerting the police to act in the way that they did. And that, for me, is very, very encouraging. Of course, you would say that is an extension of government. That is true. But, I mean, a certain culture has been nurtured that is breeding all that we are witnessing, which is really rather unfortunate. I don't know if the Despite Media Group is a wing of the MPP, to the extent that people in the MPP would think that the Despite Media Group is supposed to be doing things that amplify the wishes of the government. If they are not happy with the content of the program, they are at liberty to either do a rejoinder or to request for a platform to also share whatever it is that they feel they want to share, or to use in the party-affiliated media outlet to also champion whatever it is that they would want members of the public to hear. I don't think that there is any rule that says that a media house should toe the line of a government all the time. What is objective in one man's mind may not be objective to the other person.
Well, in reminding you that journalism is not a crime, let's see on our screen some attacks on the media over the past couple of years. And we recall in July 2023, the aide to the German South MC in the Bono region, he stormed the stages of German radio, and you see that on your screen at the moment as part of examples of attacks on the media. Then in July 11, 2023, we also see that's what happened. Then in May 3, 2023, the Dagwan FM presenter was attacked by two people live on air. October 7, 2023, there's a concern about press freedom, and that was a known person storming UTV during a live show there. And you see another on January 13, where Radio Ada was attacked by thugs. October 18, 2017, the Kumasi Youth Association, they attacked regional office of Daily Guide newspaper in Kumasi. Even to previous years, 2017, December 2, thugs from studio of Radio Justice in Tamale, they assaulted a presenter there. February 23, 2018, a presenter of A1 Radio that happened in Bolgatanga, Christopher Kevin Asiama, was attacked by police, and the journalist was brutalized. So these are just a few of the attacks on media persons, media houses in relation to the content that they churn out. In the meantime, the Information Minister, as you may be aware, Kojo Nkrumah, says he condemns in no uncertain terms any unauthorized entry into media organizations in protest at media content or interference with media work. This is a comment that the Information Minister made as part of a statement he released condemning the attack on UTV. The right to free expression, he says, and the freedom of the media are key pillars to our democracy and must be fiercely protected. Away from that, the Nigerian community in Ghana is reaching out to former President John Agyekum Kufuor seeking his support to resolve the ongoing trade dispute between Guta and Nigerian residents in Ghana. The president of the Nigerian community, Dr. Chief Albert Bayer, made this appeal during a recent visit to commiserate with the former president and express condolences for the passing of former First Lady Theresa Kufuor.
Ghana have lost a great person because people like Mother Teresa, they are not common. When you see a good wife, it will show in the husband's life. Our interaction with former President Kufuor has shown that Mama is a very good wife. It's a gift to the heart. It's a gift to the whole nation of Ghana, not only to our daddy, our father, the president. Because the president, I can say my interaction with him shows me a great lesson. That was when I learned how to be humble the more. In every of our engagement with Daddy, he has shown a great love to Nigerians in general. There is no anytime we run to him for help or some certain issues, we always receive. He receives us with a whole hand, and he has been solving the problems for us.
To some other subjects this morning, and residents of Kisaman in Accra facing severe flooding due to a crumbling drainage system causing loss of life and damage to property. Peter Kwawadota reports on the increasing frustration and calls for action.
The Kisaman Soberdown community experiences an ongoing nightmare every time it rains. The Westlands area's inadequate drainage system has led to flooding, property destruction and disruption of lives.
The state of the bridge leads to severe flooding. They should just clean the water path to reduce the impact.
Residents, including Benis Agboglu and Ahmed Dapla, shared distressing experiences during rainy seasons, highlighting the frustration of the people.
All our foodstuffs are destroyed. We have nothing to eat, so we are pleading for intervention. Once the collapsed bridge is fixed, our problems are all solved.
The continuous rain causes displacement and destruction of vital community infrastructure like inner roads and footbridges. The daily risk for children in the community is crossing this rickety wooden bridge.
I came here in 1999. I built a house here. I don't have any flood in that time. But it reached some point, you see that where the water become flood, this is the level of the water. Now all the tenants, you can't rent to them again.
A community youth leader emphasized the urgency of the situation, stating that residents have exhausted all options. Residents are calling for action from duty bearers, using the rallying cry, "No bridge, no votes," to demand the necessary repairs and prevent further devastation during rainy seasons.
Look at the level of the water sometimes. How can you stay here and work? And always, when we talk, nobody is coming to our aid. So please, we want the government to hear about this so that they can help us in constructing the bridge. The bridge is our problem. Christian Village Bridge.
Well, let's bring you some other subjects in international news this morning as hundreds of Israelis have been killed in attacks from Gaza since Saturday. The government says it is believed that as many as 100 soldiers and civilians were kidnapped when Palestinian fighters crossed the border and raided communities. Palestinian officials say retaliatory Israeli airstrikes have also killed hundreds of people in the Gaza Strip. Thousands are also wounded. The wave of attacks launched by the Hamas militant group on Saturday morning is the biggest escalation in decades between the two sides. Well, as you may be aware, Selim from the Volta region has just won the 2023 Ghana's Most Beautiful Edition. Here are some sights and sounds.
And we are about to wrap it all tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, there are so many prize packages you see behind us. Our sponsors are many, and we are blessed to have all of them on GMB 2023. Let's quickly run through.
To take home, and Top Choco is also giving our ladies a beautiful hampers to say, well done. Now, Cookie, this is where we get into the crux of the matter, the moment we've all been waiting.
Napkins with 16.9 points.
All right, so she gets 15,000 Ghana cedis as her cash prize. And that sash, that gives her the bragging rights as Ghana's Most Beautiful 2023.
Well, congratulations to the winner and all the finalists of GMB 2023. That's it for the news on New Day. My name is Noble Crosby, and there's more news on our website, 3news.com. Please log on for more. New Day continues after this. Good morning.